You hear me clearly?
Yes.
Puan Nat, can you reconfirm either because can't really hear the voice lah?
Yes, boleh.
Boleh
Boleh
dengar?
dengar Dr. Taufik?
Boleh, boleh.
Ah.
Alright. Clear
Boleh dengar suara ke?
Ya, boleh.
Ah, can't really hear voice from Dr. Zamri. One moment ya. Oh, clear. Alright. Alright. Maybe. Right. Okay. Alright. So if everyone is ready, so Dr. Taufik, you ready as well? Shall we begin our webinar today?
Yes, sure.
Alhamdulillah. Right. Assalamualaikum. A very good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's online webinar. The title for today will be Fuzzy Delphi Method, a modern approach to expert consensus. All right. So today I'm Zubaidah Muhammad Ali Tan, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. First and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management Postgraduate Department team, led by Associate Professor Dr. Mazlina Mazhar, for organizing this insightful webinar. I am confident that this session will give us a new knowledge and equip us, something, a new perspective or idea on methodology to make our master and PhD journey more smoother and also successful. Okay. I also would like to extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Muhammad Taufik Zamri, and we express our gratitude for taking his time to share his valuable insight with us this morning. Before we start, please take note of the following guidelines for the webinar. Please make sure that you are always on mute during the presentation. The Q&A session will be held only after the presentation. So later, if along the way, if you have any question, you just can type your question in the chat box. So later, by the end of the session, after Dr. Muhammad Taufik already given his explanation about today's topic, then we will start with the Q&A session. Yeah. And of course, about the attendance record, please kindly remain until the end of this webinar to receive the link of attendance. So before proceeding to the next agenda, it would be greatly appreciated if you could kindly turn on your camera for the photo session. Okay. Thank you for your cooperation, yeah, participant. Kindly please let's turn on our camera now. Okay, Puan Nat. Okay, I need someone to take the picture. Okay.
Boleh? Okay, buka kamera semua. Ada 3 orang je yang buka kamera. Yang lain-lain tak ada kamera ya? Okay, lagi. Hai Ana, Anissa, Atira, Siti Hawa.
Right. Peter, so we wait for another 10 seconds for everyone to give opportunity for everyone to turn on their camera. Might be taking some time. Right. 9, 8,
Okay.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, thank you. Okay, so okay, Puan Nat, how's everything? Okay, dah dapat gambar? Ataupun maybe Miss Ana Batrisha, just to double to also take a picture lah as a backup.
Okay.
Thank you. Ready. Thank you.
Okay, boleh?
Right.
Okay, ready semua? Okay, senyum.
Thanks. Okay, right. Done with that part. Okay, everyone, let's move on to the session that we've been waiting. Yeah. Okay, one moment. Right. Okay, let me see. Okay, so let me give a very short, brief description about our guest speaker today. All right. Dr. Muhammad Taufik Zamri, all right, is a senior lecturer at University Technology Mara with 13 years of experience in the hospitality field. Recently completed his PhD in education, where his research focused on developing a psychomotor assessment framework for open and distance learning, or short form ODL, yep, in the hospitality education. His work applied the design and development research, or what we call as a DDR approach, where this approach is commonly used in education field to develop a module, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, let Mr. Dr. Muhammad Taufik explain, because in our faculty it's quite very rare to use this DDR method. Okay, to the hospitality field, okay, and incorporated the fuzzy Delphi method. So this is, I think most of us would say that first time heard about this term fuzzy Delphi method. All right. So what is fuzzy Delphi method? It is a method to gather expert consensus. Okay. Or in Malay we call it kesepakatan kepakaran. Expert consensus. Okay. His research has led to several publications and a guideline for best practices in ODL assessment for hospitality education. Right? Without further ado, Dr. Muhammad Taufik, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Puan Zubaida. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to extend my gratitude to the postgraduate FHTM, FPHP for inviting me to share some of my research experience to maybe to help our students in focusing or giving opportunity to explore to the new horizon of research methodology, right? Okay, yes, it is mentioned, Puan Zubaida mentioned that DDR, design and development research, is most commonly used in education and psychology field, but it is not limited to that area, but this particular approach is now commonly used in other research areas as well. Okay, so that's where I am here now to share with you my research journey and what is it about the fuzzy Delphi or fuzzy Delphi technique, right? Okay, let me share you my screen first, right? A moment, please. All right. So if you have any questions, just take notes, and then I think we will have the Q&A session at the end of the session. Then we can take the question one by one. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, doctor.
All right. Okay. So you can call it as fuzzy Delphi or fuzzy Delphi method. Tak kisah pun yang mana satu. So it's not basically a modern approach to expert consensus, but basically it is coming from a Delphi method traditionally. Okay, but fuzzy Delphi method comes in after that just to improve the Delphi method, right? Okay. Let me just give you some analogy of why we need expert consensus, because when we do research, not everything is in the book. Sometimes the literature is very limited. Sometimes you cannot find out valuable insights from um, certain perspective, right? For example, you want to find out what is the um, for example, I would like to develop a module. I would like to develop a framework, right? But the literature is very limited. We cannot find out and there's not much work is being done to explore in that area. So that's why when this is happening, so we turn to some experts to share their insights on that particular areas, right? And that's where we need the expert opinion in that particular areas. Okay, and as I mentioned, because the literature is very limited and outdated, so you need to find some experts who are really into that field, so that they can share some insights. Then from that insights, you can basically develop things that you want to explore. Then sometimes you need to explore some practice-based knowledge methods. Means that something that has been practiced in the industry basically, but it is not in theory or knowledge matters. It's not really uh, something that is very orang kata apa dah tepu lah alright, ataupun is very concentrated already, but you want to know what has been what is it what does the industry practice currently. So you want to find out the current trends or the current practice that is being done by the industry. So you need to find out the experts who are really good at it. Then it gives you some contextual judgment. Okay, when we talk about contextual judgment, it means that you want to find out. For example, in my area of research is more on assessment part, but it is rare in our field, hospitality industry, to focus on hospitality education, right? Okay, so I want to find out the assessment part in hospitality education, but assessment is not the major areas in hospitality education. Because we borrowed it from the education, right? Okay, so in that context, we want to find out what is the right assessment method to be practiced in hospitality education. So we have to go back to the education philosophy, education fundamentals, right? But we want to put it into context in hospitality education. We want to make sure that it is relevant to our industry. So that's why we need to find some expert in hospitality education that align with the education philosophy. So that's why we need to find the experts who really are good at it, and then we can find out what are the assessment that is really appropriate to be conducted for students, right? Okay, then when we talk about expert opinion in research, what if okay, what is it about the expert opinion, right? We find out expert to find an informed judgment, something that is very difficult to find out um, via literature. Okay, you cannot find out this in the books or in any kind of literatures, but you can only get it from, or you can only obtain it from the insights of the experts, insights of the people who really devote themselves in that particular area. So they know particularly what is happening practically, right? For example, you see the dialogue here. I've trained students for years. Trust me, some things just work better in practice. And another said that you won't find this in the textbook, but this is how we really do it on the job, right? When we talk about technical skills, we talk about how to do things. Because some of the experts who are really long in the industry have ways or better ways to do it that we cannot find in books. So this is where we need to find out an informed judgment from the experts, right? And then who are the experts? They are someone who are having a vast experience in that particular area. They are very good at that subject matter, and they are the one who put things in real world context, right? So this is what goes back to the first point that we said, that you cannot find it in the textbooks. So you want to find out what is happening in the real world context. So you need to find out the persons who are in that particular area. Okay, so that is the expert opinion. That's why you need an expert opinion to find out about things you want to explore. Then what if the experts disagree? Because you don't have one expert, you have many experts, or at least you will have more than one experts. And because these all are human, so they have different opinions. So they might disagree with one and another. Right? Like you see in the picture here, like the one of the experts said techniques first. The second one said speed matters, but the third one said customer satisfaction is the priority. But whose opinion should guide your research? This is where consensus is built, is needed. This is where the consensus is needed. Okay, so bring the story like this, right? Why we need an experts and what is expert opinion, and a single opinion does not matter. We need a consensus to make sure that the idea is that we don't want to have bias, because a single opinion will lead to bias. Okay? Even though he is the expert, but we have other experts in that area, so we need to have consensus, and we need an agreement from all those experts to say one thing, or to confirm one thing, right? So we want to avoid bias. Okay, by avoiding bias, we can increase the credibility of the outcome or output that we are trying to explore, right? Because you are not only focusing on one single opinion, but you obtain the consensus from different experts in that particular area. So it increased the credibility of your outputs. And of course, these particular consensus will support research decision making um, as a consensual support for decision making. It's not from one single aspect of the our perspective. So we get a group of people who are experts in that area to agree on a particular matters, so that is going to support your decision making, so it's going to be a better decision making, right? Okay, let's just give you some scenario how it works, right? In building the consensus, right? Example: what is the most important skill to assess in the final practical test? For example, in education perspective, right? Expert one said time, expert two said plating, expert three said safety. But when you go when you go to these three experts, then doing a Delphi method, right? So at the end of the process, so you will get consensus. For example, maybe you can get safety first, then time and plating. And how this consensus is built, it is based on the agreement of all experts. They might not agree at the beginning, but because you are trying to go to the experts and trying to explore their opinions, right, and it is basically not um, only one time of asking. Okay, later I will explain to you about the processes of doing consensus, right, through the Delphi method. This is just to give you the idea or overview why we need to have consensus, why we need to seek for expert opinion, why we need to get consensus from all these experts to make sure that we can get a very, very good output in our research. And it depends on what a particular context that you are trying to explore, right? Okay, so in several rounds, you get the experts to agree on the most important skill to assess in the final practical test. Then they come to agree on the safety first, then time and plating. Although at the beginning, they have their own opinions of what should be a good skill or important skill to be assessed for the practical final test. Okay, so this is where a Delphi method comes in. So what I'm going to walk you through today is to understand fundamentals of Delphi and fuzzy Delphi. Then once we know about the Delphi, the traditional Delphi method, then we move on to the fuzzy Delphi. Then you are going to learn a step-by-step FDM process. Then I'm going to share with you my research outputs a little bit, and then just a takeaways after that, right? Okay, then what is basically to explore about fuzzy Delphi method, because it is in our context we say that it is a new technique, but it comes from a traditional Delphi technique, right? It's a traditional Delphi technique because before that, when we talk about seeking expert opinions through Delphi technique, it means that you are going to search for the experts, and then you are going to find out or to investigate or to ask opinions about things you want to explore. So it is more qualitative in nature rather than quantitative. Although after this, you are going to hear about the use of questionnaire. After this, I'm going to tell you that we are going to use questionnaire to do the Delphi and fuzzy Delphi technique, but it's still qualitative in nature because the nature is that you are seeking insights from the experts, okay, and then you are using the questionnaire just as a tools. And here we don't need a really large sample because experts is not commonly have large samples, right? So that's why we go back to the traditional Delphi technique first. Let us understand what is the foundation of the Delphi technique first, and then how it moved to the fuzzy Delphi technique, and what factors that has been added to improve the traditional Delphi technique. Okay, although it is traditional one, but do we still use it in research? Yes, we still do it in research, but it depends on your research nature. If you think that you need to have a Delphi technique, then you can use Delphi technique. But if you want to, if you think that your research can apply to fuzzy Delphi technique, you can use that. Later, uh, we will explain to you about the application, right? Okay, what is Delphi technique basically? It's a structured process to gather and refine expert opinions. You are not only gathering the opinions, but you also refining the expert opinion to get consensus at the end of the processes. Okay, and basically how you get to gather and refine the expert opinions, it is based on anonymity, right? And you can basically throughout the processes, so you can modify and change the output based on the experts input, and you are doing it systematically because there are certain rounds that it involves multiple rounds. Okay, so the key features, you see, the key features of the Delphi technique is anonymity, means that you are going to meet the expert individually. There is no interaction between one expert to another, right? This is where we avoid biases, right? Okay, let's say I give you some example. I have like 5 experts in the area of my interest, right? So that 5 experts, they when you do the process, when you're selecting the expert, you don't communicate to another expert that you don't tell other experts who is your experts. Means that you just like contacting one expert individually, and then you go to them individually to ask, because we want to have anonymity, because we want to have their insights without any outside influence. Okay, because you just think like this: if you find 5 experts, and these 5 experts knows each other, and these 5 experts knows that you are asking them separately, but they know, and they know each other, basically they know each other. So let's say I am one of the expert, and my teacher is one of the experts in the group, right? And I know my teacher is going to be in that, is recruited, and I'm also recruited in that particular research. Okay, then my opinion now is going to be influenced by my teacher's perspective, right? Because I know, because at some points I know that I cannot beat my teacher, right? Okay, so that is human nature. So that's why you don't tell experts about who are the other experts. So you keep them anonymous so that um, you can really dig in into the deep into the insights of the particular experts. Then it's going to be a multiple and iterative rounds, means that it's not going to be a one round only. Means that when you gather the opinions, okay, you need to refine it, right? This is where a multiple rounds of meeting the experts is going to be happen, right? So round one, you have 5 experts. Okay, and at round one, you go to each of the expert one by one. Then, when you start with expert one, then you end with the expert number 5. Then you based on the insights, then you're going to collect them, and then you're going to process what is the opinions, and then you're going to refine the opinions into another perspective that is being here. You will here when you do first the first round, what you do is that you are going to find out the common grounds. What are the things they agree on, what are the things they don't agree on. So you are going to list this as a theme. Then the next round is going to be what to be they are going to be asked the things that has been agreed on, maybe. Okay, or let's say um, there are 10 factors has been agreed on, but there are two factors, 10 factors has been agreed on by 5 experts. Okay, but there's factor 11 is only agreed by 4 experts. Expert number 5 did not agree on factor 11, for example. Yeah. Okay. So the second round, you need to ask again. Okay, you need to tell. You need to share the insights of other experts. Okay, and then you need to find out why expert 5 did not agree on factor 11, right? Okay, and then second round is finished. Then you need to go another round until you get consensus. So Delphi time technique is quite time consuming. Okay, but by doing the multiple round and iterative in nature, so you get a control feedback. Means that you get to meet the individual experts one by one, and then you've got to control the feedback so you can avoid biases. And at the end of the day, you get to obtain the consensus, and the consensus is going to help you in terms of your output. Okay, so that is the key features of Delphi technique. So although that it is a very structured and systematic, but it is time consuming, right? But if there is a need to do that, then you have to do Delphi technique. Okay, and what is the application of Delphi technique? How you can use Delphi technique? You can use it for policy development. Okay, I might say that whatever happens in the parliament is going to be a Delphi technique. Okay, for example, they are talking about the RUU, okay, the Rang Undang-Undang. Okay, they talk about some RUU in the parliament. That is considered as policy development, and all of the parliament members can be considered expert. And once the RUU is basically established, then that is the output of the Delphi technique. Or you can use the Delphi technique as a forecasting technique, right? And if you study the origins of Delphi technique is started in 1950s by Rand Corporation, where they do forecasting. How they do forecasting? They get all the experts in the company to discuss on the 10 years or 20 years of future, what future awaits them. So by having these input from the experts, then they can forecast um, policy. Okay, and then the five technique can help you in terms of decision making, can get you into consensus building, and of course you can do research by using Delphi technique. Okay, and then how does it work? How does the Delphi technique work? All right, so we start with with identifying the issue. What kind of issue you are trying to find out, right? In my area, okay, I'm doing PhD post COVID, just post COVID, right? So I'm trying to find out, because during that time, open distance learning is activated. um, Not only for theoretical subjects, but also for practical subjects that require psychomotor skills. And we know that psychomotor skills is not the practical skills, cannot be observed without the instructor and the students' presence at the makmal, at the lab, right? Okay, so it's going to be difficult and for the instructors to observe student skills in distance. So that's the issue during that time, right? Right. Okay, then for that I need to find out, because I did find in the literature about the problem, about the issues, but I did not get any guidelines, any models, any framework that has been established in the literature about these particular matters. How to develop assessment or psychomotor assessment for practical skills in open distance learning environment during that time. So we cannot find out because that is the new things or new issue happening on that particular time. So I need to find experts who has done that. Okay, because we have like 1 or 2 years of experience doing ODL, even though for practical training. So I find out the experts who were doing it. So I can find some insights on ways on how they handle the psychomotor skills in distance, right? Because they have the relevant knowledge at that time, right? And then I find out then from that insights, so I developed the questionnaire. Okay, how I develop the questionnaire. I mix with the open-ended and closed-ended questions in that. Okay, because I want to find out their insights. Okay, how did I get the closed-ended? It is based on yeah, some of the literatures are there, but you can use that as a foundation to us the experts using the closed-ended. But some of the questions in the questionnaire you can ask in open-ended. Okay, because you want to find out the insights. Then you collect responses from the experts, right? And then from that particular responses, then you try to compile, highlighting common themes and disagreements. Here you go round and round and round and round until when you get and then you provide the feedback. You go round one, round two, round three, round four, and etc. Then at the end of the day, you iterate the process. You are going to repeat the steps, and then you are going to revise questionnaires based on the feedback until you reach the consensus. Right? This is how the Delphi technique works technically, right? So it goes like 4 to 6 rounds. It can be like 3 rounds. It can be like 5 rounds. It can be 7 rounds until you reach consensus. Okay. And this is going to be, I'm going to give you a simple analogy on Delphi technique. Okay. I'm planning a new signature heritage breakfast menu, right? And I asked 5 chefs who has been identified as the experts in the heritage breakfast menu in Malaysia. So I asked them a question: what should we serve for brunch? Right? Round one, everyone has different ideas. Maybe some said omelette. I just give omelette here, and some said lontong darat. Some said punten. Right? Okay. And I goes round two, and round three, and then I reach the consensus that in round three they all agree on one main dish, which is the punten. Right? This is a heritage breakfast menu that has been agreed by all these 5 chefs, and I'm going to use this consensus to offer in the signature heritage breakfast menu because they are the expert one. Okay, so this is a simple analogy on Delphi method, right? But there are limitations of Delphi method because, as I said, it goes around as a multiple rounds, round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until you reach consensus, and this is particularly will get the not only the researcher but the experts will get to boredom, right? Um, because they are asked in multiple rounds, so they might be bored with the same questions, or the same processes. Okay, and then no scale for how strong opinions are. It means that, okay, when you ask questions to the experts using questionnaire, so let's say you use like 5 scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, um yeah, I might agree on certain things, but um my agree my agreement on that particular matter is not like absolute for. Okay, yeah, this one I will explain later, right? But there is no scale for how strong opinions are. Means that even though I am agree, but maybe I'm slightly agree. Okay, but there is no skill in your skill. There is no like slightly agree and whatnot, right? I will explain this further. Okay, and can be rigid or slow because of the multiple rounds and because you get to get consensus from individual experts in individual session, right? So and it is hard to analyze. This is what it calls fuzzy opinions. This is what I said. It goes back to the point number one. Fuzzy means that although I am agree, okay, but what is the level of my agreement? It might be like maybe 25%, maybe 50%, maybe 75%, but that is not included in the scale. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Okay, so if you have like some blurry opinions, so the Delphi technique cannot capture that, right? Because it's important, because when you get insights from the experts, you need to really obtain their level of agreement on that particular matters, because it is a consensus building, right? Okay, so it's hard to analyze some blurry opinions. Okay, you will find out this from different experts, and sometimes consensus isn't clear. Like I said, it goes back to point number 3 and point number 1. Okay, isn't clear. I agree, but see, this kind of thing is happening during the interview with the experts. Is going to happen. Some experts, they might agree, but they will have but after that. Okay, so it's powerful technique, but not always perfect. Sometimes experts are unsure, or they agree kind of but not fully. This is where we need something more flexible. This is where the fuzzy Delphi comes in, right? Okay, so this is where I would like to explore with you the fuzzy Delphi method. The fuzzy, okay, it's still a Delphi method, okay, but we add the fuzzy set theory. Is very mathematical a little bit if we use a fuzzy logic. Okay, and then let's go back a little bit on the mathematics sedikit. All right, okay, so we will talk about contoh, in mathematics there is no there is always like yes or no, or true or false only. 1 0 1 0 in mathematics, right? The 1 plus 1 is 2, right? So when we talk about something, is it hot, is the water hot, so it's like 1 or 0. Well, is yes or no, 1 or 0. But in life, okay, in logic, in our logic, not in mathematic logic, in our life logic, when we talk about hot, right? It maybe it's extremely hot, maybe it's just a moderately hot, and it's somewhat hot and very little hot. It depends on people perception and sensation as well, right? Some people say this is hot, this is not hot, right? So that is a life logic rather than a mathematic logic, yes or no, right? This is where I said that when you go to Delphi method, right? So they use a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is basically 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, right? But when we talk about fuzzy logic, it comes with a certain range that will tell you exactly the level of hotness in that water in a very accurate way. Okay, so this is what we call as fuzzy set theory. So we apply that fuzzy set theory into a Delphi method, then it's going to improve the traditional Delphi method in terms of what, in terms of the blurry opinions. And yang slide tadi tu slide before this said that they might have a blurry opinions. So that blurry opinions cannot be captured by Delphi, but fuzzy Delphi can capture that, because we use fuzzy set theory where we can have range of opinions. When you agree, what kind of agreement? Is it very agree? Is it little agree? Or is it somewhat agree? So all of these blurry or fuzzy. Blurry means fuzzy, right? Fuzzy opinions is going to help you to get more accurate um, insights or opinions, right? Okay, so it's add clarity to expert opinions. It's measure uncertainty, like I said in the previous slide. Okay, when you have like blurry or fuzzy kind of opinions, so this fuzzy logic will help you to measure the uncertainty, and it will help you to make a better research decision. So like I said, life is not black and white. The macam ni lah, I give you example um, like color. There is different perception of colors between men and women. If you give like a different spectrum of red color, so maybe the man is only looking at red is red is only red. There is no like apple red. There is no like what apa nude red lah, macam-macam red kan. Okay, macam perempuan, macam women, they always have like the spectrum of red tu, banyak color, right? Okay, so that particular spectrum tu yang kata life is not black and white. There are spectrum on it. So we need to look into that, because itulah we call about opinions. Okay, it might be we might have different opinions on certain things. Okay, then how FDM works, fuzzy Delphi method works. Okay, first is the same thing as Delphi, but this is how FDM works in the context of FDM. First, of course, you need to select experts. Then you need to design the questionnaire. Then you need to collect responses, and you need to do the consensus analysis, and you need to get the results based on the consensus analysis. Right? I'm going to go to do one by one with this particular processes of FDM. Basically, it's not really different with Delphi, but now they use a fuzzy scale rather than just a normal scale, right? Okay, so let's look into the expert selection first. Who should be your expert? In fuzzy Delphi and Delphi, both in Delphi and fuzzy Delphi, both there is a need, both needs a really, really good expert. Means that you need to select the real expert. When you talk about the real expert, then you need to really justify because it goes back to the researcher itself. Okay, so it depends on how you define and how you interpret whether someone is expert in that particular area or not. It depends on certain criteria. But according to Berliner 2004, anyone who have more than 5 years of experience can be considered as the expert in that particular subject matter, right? And some other researchers say that they have more than 5 years of experience with knowledge and experience on a particular subject. And another said that this is to increase the qualitative strength of recommendation or consensus. While having more than 5 years and with vast knowledge and experience, they will increase the quality of consensus. So it depends on how the researcher define the experts criteria. Okay, and in some cases you need homogeneous group of experts. It depends on certain situation or things you want to explore. And sometimes you need heterogeneous group of experts. Means that um, in my area, for example, although it is a hospitality education, but I need to find out heterogeneous group of experts to get a quality consensus, because the assessment in skills is not belong to hospitality only. We have other fields that also have the practical skills. Okay, we have people who are experts in education in terms of curriculum development and assessment development. Okay, we have experts in, and when we talk about skills, we have experts in TVET. Okay, so we need to find all this heterogeneous group to find out that to get a consensus on things that I want to develop, right? And some of the area you need to have a homogeneous group. Okay, and because this is qualitative in nature. Okay, the size, or what is size? There is no standard size of the panel members or the experts. There is no size, no standard size. But generally, a number close generally means it is not when we talk about generally, it means that you don't have to. It is not compulsory. When we talk about generally, a number close to 30 to 50 is considered optimum. But when in Malaysia, there are gurus in Fuzzy Delphi, in education. Okay, normally they will suggest to you to have like 15 to 20 to 21 panel of experts. Then these numbers is going to give you a good consensus, right? And just the practice context, right? Then after that, when you have selecting the experts based on their areas, then you need to design a questionnaire. Why you need to design a questionnaire, right? Because you need in fuzzy Delphi method, you need to make sure that you are trying to reduce the rounds, or it might be only one round of getting an expert opinion, right? That's why you need to design a questionnaire. But this questionnaire is not the same as quantitative kind of questionnaire, right? It follows the same direction, but because you are going to get experts opinions, all right? So how do you design the questionnaire? Okay, it can be, you can design it from literature review. Means that if you can get some literatures about that particular area, you can use the items from or you can adapt the items. Okay, or you can always interview first. You get another set of experts, right? the interview first. In my case, I have like the first round of the first group of experts are from the hospitality educators who have 5 years experience teaching practical skills in their field. Then they are basically doing or conducting the practical skills training in open distance learning. So this is my criteria. So I find the group of experts in this criteria and I interview them first. When I interview them first, there are teams and based on teams and based on sub teams and key aspects. Then from that particular output, I develop the questionnaire, right? Based on that output. Or you can opt for focus group discussion. You gather the homogeneous or the heterogeneous group of experts. Then in one session, you can just find out about the what are the elements, what are the elements of practical skill of assessment that you need to look into. Okay, so all of the expert will give their opinions, and based on that, you jot down. And based on that opinions or insights, then you can design the questionnaire for another round of expert review, right? Okay, once you have developed the questionnaire, then you can the questionnaire should use the fuzzy logic terms lah. For example, strongly disagree or moderately disagree or whatnot, right? It depends on what are the things you are trying to look for. Then just as a normal questionnaire like you do now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 7, right? It depends on what kind of scale you are using. Then this is just to capture the nuances of experts' opinion, right? Okay. Then you have to collect responses. Okay, when your questionnaire has been done, right? So how you get the experts to answer the questionnaire, right? You can do one workshop. You can organize one workshop. Then you gather all these experts in one day. Then you give them each of them the questionnaire. Okay. Here I would like to highlight that. Okay, the difference between the Delphi traditional Delphi and fuzzy Delphi is that, right? In Delphi technique, the experts does not interact with each other, right? Because we want to avoid biases. Okay. But in fuzzy Delphi, okay, we can have all the experts sit down together and using tools as a questionnaire. The questionnaire is going to be a control feedback, right? Okay. So that questionnaire is they are going to answer the same questionnaire, and based on that questionnaire, uh, uh, they can give or they can give feedbacks on their agreement on certain items, elements. And once they finish answering the questionnaire, then we can basically process. Okay, so in fuzzy Delphi, right, you have choices whether or not to go round 2, or you just stick to round 1. Okay, because the questionnaire design is particularly has been extensive already, right? So you might consider to have round 1 if you are not keen enough to, if you are not satisfied with the output, or you can just like stick to one round of um, expert review, right? Or you can meet one-to-one meeting with the experts. If you don't have time, or it's really difficult to get the experts to come together to the meeting, so you can just go to one by one, right? So this is no interaction with other experts, but you still can get the responses from the questionnaire. Or you can always direct email to the experts. In my situation, I use number 2 and number 3, because to organize a workshop, you need a really good amount of money, right? And I don't have that, so I opt for number 2 and number 3, where some of the experts I go to them one-to-one meeting, and most of them requested a direct emails, so I get responses from direct emails in majority, right? Okay, then once you have collected the responses, this is now you do the analysis part, right? The analysis part is basically using a formula, but I will not show you the formula here because I think it's not relevant to us. But I'm going to show you how the formula has been transformed into an Excel form that helps you to process the data. the data is coming from the question, right? So you just have to input or key in the data in the question in the Excel. Then the Excel is automatically calculate to you the FDM analysis. Okay, what are the analysis involved? Number one is triangular fuzzy number. Yeah, it's quite mathematical, but don't worry, I will just walk you through the concept. And number two is the fuzzy evaluation process. You have to in FDM analysis, you have to fulfill both the triangular fuzzy number and fuzzy evaluation process. You need to satisfy both in order to get consensus, right? I'm going to go through one by one. Okay, in triangular fuzzy number first. See, what is triangular fuzzy number? Okay, you remember that we use the scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and because this is fuzzy Delphi, okay, so we use a fuzzy logic. Okay, the fuzzy set theory. Okay, the fuzzy set theory always have like three range instead of um 1 and 0, yes or no. We don't have yes or no in fuzzy Delphi. We have a range between 0 and 1. Okay, I repeat, yeah. For Delphi technique, there is they only use like 1 or 0, right? But in fuzzy Delphi, so the range from 0 to 1, right? Okay, for each scale number. For each scale number, like this one. 5, okay, the scale is, the fuzzy scale is 0.6, 0.8, and 1. And it comes from this particular formula. Okay, it comes from M1, M2, and M3. Okay, I'm just going to show you the M1, M2, M3. Why? Because this is coming from the fuzzy logic theory, right? For one particular scale, it's going to have like three fuzzy scale. Okay, it shows that for one particular single response is going to be either M1 or either, for example, 5 is strongly agree, but strongly agree is not, like I said, is just like life is not black and white, right? Okay, so 5 does not mean 5, does not mean I am strongly agree. I might because number 4 is just agree. I am agree. I am not strongly agree, but I am in the middle. Let's see. Okay. So, but there is no scale in your questionnaire, right? So that is where fuzzy scale help you to understand in which area that you really agree on, right? Okay, so we start with M1, smallest, and the most plausible value is M2, and the largest value is M3. So it gives you the logic here is that for 5, so 0.6 is the smallest value, 0.8 is the most plausible value or the average, number 1 is the largest value for number 5, and it goes back. And this is all formula. If you ask me how you get this number, I don't know how you get this number, but it's coming from the formula, right? So for example, if the expert answer 5, he might only agree at these three fuzzy number. He might agree at these three fuzzy number, not absolute 5, but he might only agree at these three fuzzy number at 5 fuzzy scale. Right? Formula 1 M1 plus M2 plus M3 divided by 3, thus you get like instead of you get 100% agreement, so you'll get only 80% agreement on that particular. Means that if you answer 5 here at this particular situation, if you answer 5, right? So it will be interpreted as by this formula is it's not 100% pun strongly agree. Basically, it's 80% agreement on that number 5. Okay, so because 2.4 divided by 3, so you get what I mean here, right? Okay, so number 5 is strongly agree in a normal scale, but in the fuzzy scale it is strongly agree but 80% agreement only in the particular item, right? Okay, it's not 100% because there are some blurry. So the 20% is the blurry opinions. Okay, then for triangular fuzzy number, you need to have two conditions to be satisfied on. Okay, these two conditions must be satisfied in order to obtain consensus or agreement. Right? Number one is the threshold value of D is lower than 0.2, you don't have to calculate, just input it in your Excel, then you will get the number. It's based on the M1, M2, M3, then you get this number. Then based on this, the Excel will calculate for you the D value. What is the D value? Is the item against the number of experts. The items against the expert. Okay. For example, this one is expert number one. Expert number one with item number one. Expert number one with item number two. Expert one with item number three. So there is a different level of fuzzy scale here. So they will calculate it for you, and you get at the end of the day, the D value is 0.161. So because of 0.161, right, is basically lower than 0.2 here. So it has been fulfilled or satisfied. Okay, ini condition number one. Condition number two is that the agreement must be more than 75%. Okay, some other researchers say 68% or 65, but I just use 75%. Yeah. So the second condition is that expert agreement should be more than 75%. Okay, so by having the calculation in the Excel, so for this particular elements, it's a 92% of agreement. So when condition one and condition two has been fulfilled and satisfied, we can say that the expert has consensually accept this item, right? Based on triangular fuzzy number. But it's not end there, right? You have to find out that number one and number two in triangular fuzzy number, but that one is only for triangular fuzzy number. We have another condition to satisfy, which is the, if you still remember this one, number two, right? Triangular fuzzy number has been fulfilled and satisfied. There are two conditions you need to satisfy. And then we move to the fuzzy evaluation process, right? This is quite technical, yeah. Just bear with me, right? What is fuzzy evaluation process? It is used to determine item ranking, right, among the consensually agreed item. So the D value has been agreed on. The expert consensus has been more than 75%. So now you want to know in your item, which of your item is having is rank. Okay, it will help you. I will tell you exactly what is the impact of this. Yeah. Okay, so fuzzy evaluation process will tell you the item ranking based on the consensually agreed item, and this shows the item's priority in that particular elements you are trying to find out. Then it is indicated by the alpha cut value. It must be more than 0.5. This is all calculated by the Excel. So if you see here, is all the items. I have here 6 items, right? Okay. So for all these 6 items, the average fuzzy number for each one of it are more than 0.5, then it has been fulfilled the third condition of FDM. Okay. And then all items are consensually accepted and ranked, right? Rank is, you see like this, item number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And once it has been went through into a fuzzy evaluation process, it shows the rank. Now you see, item number one remain as rank number one, but item number two, it is now moved to rank number three. And item number three is sharing the same priority as item number one. Okay, and item number four is remain there as a ranking number four, and 6 and 5 they change places because of the fuzzy evaluation process. This is all based on the experts' insights before, right? Okay, so when you have fulfilled the 3 conditions, only then you accept the items or elements, right? Okay, means that it is the elements get is accepted and being consensually agreed on by all the experts. So you can include that in your final output. Okay. Then let me just go through a little bit on my research, because this is just quite technical, right? Okay, so I just go through a little bit on what my research is all about. So this is my research title: Design and Development of Psychomotor Assessment Framework in Open Distance Learning for Hospitality Education. All right. So this is my research process. Okay. There are 3 phases of my research process, because I am applying the design and development research methodology Okay, this one I think we need another session lah kalau nak cakap kan pasal ni lama lah But because today we are only focusing on FDM, so I'm just going to tell you that my FDM is in the phase 2, right? In phase 1, I do the need analysis to find out about what is the expert insights on doing psychomotor assessment via ODL, right? Then in second phase, then I do the FDM because I have gained the experts insight group, the first group expert insight. Then I process the data into a questionnaire. Then the questionnaire has been distributed to another group of experts, then to get their consensus. Okay, so if you see here, when I develop the questionnaire based on the first one, okay, the first phase, okay, how I develop the questionnaire, not only from the expert interview, but I get it from the document analysis and also the literature review here. So all these three tools, I have triangulated it, and then I get to use them for the questionnaire design. And the questionnaire design, how many items are there in the questionnaire design is 308 items in that particular questionnaire, and these are all identified items by the first group of experts, showing that these are the important elements to be included in the development of framework of psychomotor assessment in ODL, right? Okay, that is the first round. So I get 308 items. Based on that, okay, I ask another group of experts in a particular area of assessment, TVET and whatnot. Okay, and then when I ask them, I check the three conditions, and only 255 items were consensually agreed against 308 items. Means that from that, we know that 255 items or element has been agreed on, and that is my output where I can use it to develop the framework. Okay, so how I use the 255 frameworks, because it is iterative in nature. Okay, so this is the example of how I table it out in my report, right? For example, I take one element, governance and compliance, is coming from the questionnaire, right? The questionnaire is obtained from the first group of experts insights. Then one of the elements is governance and compliance. They said about it's important to look into the governance and compliance first before we develop the psychomotor assessment framework. Okay, so based on this, there are items. There are small items inside the governance and compliance. So from this, I tested and asked the second group of experts. So my first condition in triangular fuzzy number is the D value, right? So my D value is lower than 0.2. So first one is satisfied. And then the consensus agreement is 98%, more than 75%. So the second condition has been fulfilled. Okay. And then another one is the threshold value. This one, yeah. The fuzzy evaluation process more than 0.5. So all third condition has been fulfilled and satisfied. So these items are accepted, means that the elements, governance and compliance has been accepted by the second group of experts. So I can include the governance and compliance into the framework that I am going to build, right? But I want to know, okay, because I have items here, right? So what is the items rank, or how the experts prioritize, what kind of items they prioritize under governance and compliance? Okay, so if you see here is, okay, item 4, 7, 3 and 6, I take this 4 because this is the highest, right? Okay, antaranya adalah clear communication, integrity of quality assurance, clear guidance, empower subject matter experts, right? So I process this into another set of iteration. So I changed this governance and compliance. Okay, the original name is governance and compliance from the expert. Then because I have the item rank here by the fuzzy Delphi, the fuzzy evaluation process, then all this item revolve around leadership and governance. So I changed that into leadership and governance. because this is DDR concept lah, tu cerita lain okay. Then I use this and then I include that into my framework, and this is my final frame. One of my final framework adalah the ecosystem is built. That means that if you want to develop the psychomotor assessment framework, you need to have this framework first. Okay, means that you need to have the ecosystem, and one of the elements in the ecosystem is leadership and governance. Okay, who says this? Not me. It's all the experts based on their consensus. So they agreed on that leadership and governance should be here. And actually, I have another set of group expert that is going to validate my framework. That one is under DDR phases. That is another story, right? But this is how the FDM helps me to find out a consensus building for certain elements to be included in my framework. So this is the final output, right? Okay, and these are the takeaways after all of the things that we have went through just now. So I'm going just to give you a reflections and tips for postgraduate students who are maybe the research, their research now is, oh, sebenarnya I need to get experts kan. Okay, because I find out some of our postgraduate students has already begin to develop module, to develop certain framework, to develop a model and whatnot. So when you are trying to develop model or framework that is yet to be established, that is yet to be established, means that if you already have the model, you cannot establish another model. But if you are trying to establish a model from a grounded issues, that is maybe new issues, okay, so you might use DDR approach, and you might use FDM as your one of your tools to analyze and to get consensus, right? So let's look into reflections a little bit. Okay, the strengths of FDM is more into a clarity because they basically add the fuzzy logic into the scale. So instead of 1 and 0, you get the range between 0 to 1. So you get clear idea on which level which level of agreement the experts are basically are telling you. And then it adds more precision to the decision making, and then it is more quantifiable results. Okay, but the challenges are the expert selection. If you wrongly select the experts, you might not get a good results or output. You will see it, right? Okay, it depends on your expert selection. So you really have to define who are your experts, and you must really elaborate or detail it out. What is the criteria of your expert? Does you need any homogeneous group, or you need heterogeneous group based on the needs of your research? Okay, and then the tips is to always pilot test your instrument. The same thing happened to the quantitative approach, right? For postgraduates, if you're interested in this particular method or analysis tools, so you can use it when you need to get consensus from the expert. Means that it is not for everybody. It is not for all research type. It is based on your issues and what you are trying to find out. Is it involve the expert opinions, and do you need to get consensus from all of these experts to get your output? Then this method is appropriate to you. Then you need to define, but if you want to use this, you need to define what is the appropriate fuzzy scales you need to use. Okay, basically there is a difference between if you use 1 to 5 scale, or 1 to 7 scale, or 1 to 9 scale. Okay, mathematically, if you basically calculate the M1, M2, and M3 for each of the scale, 1 to 5, 1 to 7, 1 to 9, each will give you a different percentage of agreement. Okay, the more scale you have, yang ganjil, you will have more precision. Eh? I don't show it in my slide, but because I think it's too technical. But 1 to 5, 1 to 7, 1 to 9. Okay, if you mathematically use the formula M1 plus M2 plus M3 and divide it by 3, you will get precision more to uh, to the higher scale, or to the scale that use more numbers, 1 to 9, or you can use 1 to 11, right? So it will give you more precision in terms of the fuzzy, right? And you have to justify your methodology in thesis lah, because normally when you use FDM you will use DDR, not necessarily, but in FDM you need to really and carefully elaborate on how do you justify why you need to use fuzzy Delphi, okay, rather than other technical approaches in research. So it all depends back in your research questions, research objective, your aims, and on semua yang fundamentals, right? Okay, and with that I end the my sharing session. I hope that I I at least fulfill or achieve the expectation of the viewers here. And I'm happy to get any questions if you have any questions. Thank you very much, and and back to you, Puan Zubaida. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Taufik Zamri, for such a great sharing to take us on a journey through the lens of the fuzzy Delphi method, okay, as one of the qualitative research strategy option to gain data through experts' consensus, right? For now, it's time for the Q&A session. So I encourage all participants to submit your questions through the chat or raise your hand virtually, or maybe just turn on your mic and just proceed with your question. Okay. So, but if I looking into the chat box, I think we have question from a DPJ basically. I think the first question already been covered. Examples of blurry or fuzzy opinions. The example you've doctor given about the tone of color, red. Yeah, different. Yeah, so it's quite. We're not sure what type of red defined by different people. Yeah, something like that. So it's considered as blurry, yeah, unsure. And second question, who sets the threshold? I think
Okay.
this one during the scale here, measurement, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the question. Okay, who set the threshold is basically it's based on the mathematical formula, lah. All right, because the Delphi technique has been added with the fuzzy logic theory, fuzzy logic sets. So there are kalau study yang tu dah ada banyak lah. Okay, there are some authors yang who introduced the FDM sets the formula. Okay, so we just use the formula, and then that is the threshold that has been basically, if I want to apa ni, the threshold should be elaborated now sebenarnya. Okay, there are some formulas. If I show you the scale in the Excel tu, so I can show you how the threshold has been set, okay, based on the formula. All right, so that's how we get D must be like below than 0.2. So it has been set using the formula lah, right? Okay, and then is it sufficient to conduct content validity? And sorry, how do we ensure validity? Can I take the question terus, Puan Zuhaida?
Yes, please.
Okay. How do we ensure validity and reliability of questionnaire in the qualitative fuzzy method? Okay, because the questionnaire for fuzzy Delphi does not really does not really need to follow what the quantitative part do, right? But in my case, my supervisor still need me to fulfill the fundamental criteria on how to develop a questionnaire, right? Although it is not as rigorous as questionnaire that we develop for the quantitative study. Okay, but how you ensure the validity and reliability? Okay, you always have to um, do the experts review, right? You do the expert with the experts. This is another experts just to check on the validity or in terms of content, in terms of the measurement and whatnot, right? So we still have to do that, right? We still have to do that. Okay, just like a normal questionnaire. Okay, and is it sufficient to conduct content validity and face validity of the questionnaire before data collection? Yes, yes, it should be enough, right? Okay, can we consider the expert consensus resulting from the fuzzy process itself as a form of triangulation? As a form of triangulation. Okay, expert consensus resulting from the fuzzy process, a set of triangulation. What do you mean by this? Kalau you if I can get Bafadal Anissa.
Ya,
Ha.
ya dokter, mungkin to be specific, the source triangulation among the informant, it can be considered as a apa tadi? Itu tadi as a validation, as a triangulation, the consensus among the informant, the expert,
Uh-huh.
can be considered as a validity or triangulation form
Okay.
of
All right.
the qualitative
Mhm.
fuzzy approach.
Okay, I get your question. Thank you for the question. But I think the consensus is just going to give you some outputs on what are the elements that has been agreed on. Okay, but to say that you can use that for triangulation, actually I am not sure how to answer that question. Okay, I'm so sorry, but I am doing the triangulation before the process of fuzzy Delphi method. Means that I get the triangulation from various data that I collected from my phase one. So that's where I get from my literature review, my document analysis, and my interview. So from there, I triangulate the data. Then I develop the questionnaire. Then I go through the validity and what are the reliability punya apa ni processes. Then only then I go to FDM just to get the consensus on the elements and items. But for Madam Bafadal, I really don't know whether we can use the output for triangulation process after that, because I've not done that before, right? Okay,
Thank you,
but
Doctor.
that's a good question, right? How long the duration taken to complete this method, and in your case, how long it took for you? Okay, it really needs perseverance. It really needs determination, and you really need to um, you don't need to be embarrassed or shy. Okay, if you really you have to push yourself to get to get to know your experts and to meet them, right? I really have problems in getting the experts, actually, not to find out the criteria. To finding out the criteria is very very simple, but to find out people who are willing to give response, that is another case, right? But as I said earlier, you need to have like if you have drawn your criteria, right, carefully drawn the experts criteria, then you need to have backup, because in my case I get 29 responses from the experts. So it is more than 21 required by my supervisor, because it can because if you get the gurus kat Malaysia ni talking about FDM, they always suggest 15 to 21. Mathematically, these numbers is going to give you more precision in terms of the output, right? But I get the 29 because I make sure that I get more I contact more experts than needed to make sure that I have backup. But I use all in the process of FDM. Okay, in my case, I'm just telling you. Okay, in my case, because I use DDR method, is by phase, like phase one, phase two, and phase three. Um, my phase one is really really extensive, so I use like from my DRP, it's like almost like 1 year only to um it's not 1 year, 9 months. I need 9 months just to complete my phase one. Means that uh I triangulate the data from literature review, from the document analysis, and my semi-structured interview. Because the process that took me longer is that the to process the document analysis and semi-structured interview right? Because you need to do a verbatim, and you need to do the team development and whatnot, right? Thematic analysis. Then it requires like 9 months. After that, I spend like about 2 to 3 months only to develop and to confirm on the questionnaire. Then I use like 1 or 2 months, another 1 or 2 months just to establish contact with the experts. Okay. Then another 3 months. Okay. I get 3 months for the questionnaire to be answered by the panel of experts. Then another 1 or 2 months for the phase three. So it took me about 2 years and um 2 years and 10 months to finish up my thesis lah. But in the process of FDM, I think FDM only for FDM only is about 3 months. But the phase one is like 9 months. So if you don't have items to be adapted from the literature, then you will be just like my case. I get all my items developed from mainly from the triangulation of literature review, document analysis, and semi-structured interview. It took me about 9 months just to develop the questionnaire. But to get the responses is about 3 months for FDM. Okay, I hope that answers your questions. Can we use the fuzzy method with another model to do our example Kano model to do our evaluation? Yes, you because it's a good question. um when you have can we use the fuzzy method with another model? Okay, if I understand your questions, um basically when I develop my framework, I base my framework from several models that has been established, but it is not the framework that I want to build. But my framework is built revolve around certain models that has been established. For example, OBE, outcome-based education. For example, the Simpson psychomotor domain. For example, the Miller's pyramid, the psychomotor level of assessment. These are three models that I use to help me to drive my framework development based on the consensus from the fuzzy Delphi method. If I understand your question, so that's how I use my fuzzy Delphi method output with other models that has been established to guide my development of framework. Okay.
Doctor, sorry, I'm the one who asked the question.
Yeah.
So I'm using the Kano model to do the
Mhm.
evaluation of training venues.
Okay.
So then after the Kano model has been used on the training venue, then I expand it to your fuzzy model. Will that
Mhm.
be workable?
Why you want to use
Transfer.
the fuzzy?
No. I just find it interesting. I've never heard of it before. So
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
just thinking that if I can expand mine
Uh-huh.
with the fuzzy model after, or should I do that first and then do my model, kind of model?
I need to look into your research first. I need to know your objective. I need to know your issues and whatnot. Only then I can maybe can suggest whether or not you can use it before or after, and whether or not you can use it the fuzzy Delphi in your particular research. I really need to look into that. I cannot give you answer now.
I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And then another from Iza Yusuf. When you mention having 3, 4, or 5 rounds with expert, does that mean you interact with a single expert back and forth? Yes, you interact with a single expert back and forth for 3 to 5 rounds, or or it may be 6 or 7 rounds. So one interaction with a single expert considered a round. No, if you have like 5 experts, right? So one single interaction with first expert, one single interaction with second, third, fourth, and fifth, that considered 1 round. So Delphi method is very time consuming and is really, really rigid in terms of the procedure, and it will basically orang kata apa, give boredom lah kepada not only to researchers but to the ni apa, to the expert juga, and they will basically demotivated for certain rounds. They are already demotivated because they answer the same thing, right? That is the drawbacks of the Delphi methods. Okay, so when we say that round, if you must complete asking the 5 experts, then it's considered 1 round. So you just imagine if you have to do it like third, second, third round, fourth or fifth rounds of that. So it's quite troublesome. And kalau you tak buat PhD, if you're not doing your PhD, if your intention to do your PhD like 10 years, okay lah kot. But who wants to spend so much time on doing PhD kan? Okay, so you have to be ni lah orang kata apa realistic lah when you selecting the method tu. Okay, but that's why, but is that Delphi method tak boleh pakai lagi? Still you can use that, depends on your objective, right? Thank you for the question. Lagi?
Okay, right. Any more questions? Okay. Right. Oh, so we'll have very lots of questions, Doctor, for this time session webinar. Because I think it's very interesting with this method. It's considered new, not new actually, but to gain knowledge. Because normally in qualitative, we've only heard about in-depth interview, one-to-one, or a focused discussion group, FDG. So I believe this is one of approach for focus group discussion, is it?
Yeah.
But of course, once you get
right?
the agreement, the consensus for all the expert, it seems like there is a element of quantitative there, where you show all the measurement calculation skill and so on involved there.
Yes. Still involves some mathematical calculation kan. Okay, so another question, Doctor, do you already create the planning for your phases during the RP? Do you already create the planning for your phases during the RP? What does that mean, Nurhusnina? Can I have
so I believe maybe what she Miss Husni now like to know something like, so when you plan during for the DRP for this DR method, so it must be very extensive, I believe.
Yes, during the DRP. So because macam ni, my direction is when I use FDM, I'm not using FDM alone. So it is driven by the DDR approach. So when I use DDR approach, only then I segregated my research process into several phases lah, based on that particular approach lah. DDR tu dah ada approach lah, pakai design and development kan. So you are going to phase by phase 1, 2 and 3. So in phase 2, when I plan my phase 2, so I find that I need to get experts, right? So this is where the FDM comes in. Maksudnya memang during the planning time tu memang you dah kena plan dah when to use it and at what phase and what kind of output you expected kan. So memang macam itulah cerita dia, memang dah kena dalam planning lah, right. So DDR tu cerita lain lah. DDR tu another approach yang methodologically that is what I use in my research. Okay, that FDM is part of my DDR approach too. Okay, is there any other questions? Thank you very much for the questions. Yeah. From your experience with FDM, how long does it take for you to complete your PhD study? And if you can share any advices for us to use this method. I have seen quite a few in our faculty yang dah start on developing things, okay? But not necessarily when you designing or developing things, you must use expert consensus. It depends juga, right? Because I don't want you to confuse yourself with a framework development based on, because when we try to develop a framework, develop a module, develop a model, okay, it means that the issue is that you don't get that much from your literature. Macam tu. If you have extensive amount of literature and already an established model framework existed, so there is no need to do framework development dah. Sebenarnya dah kena buat refinement saja. So you don't need to have. But in other directions, maybe you want to add more and more in certain context, because FDM, kalau you tengok saya punya slide tadi, in some contextual, some context, okay, you can add more elements or item, then you might consider to use it. You might consider to use it. Okay. Um, then like I said before, it depends back on your issue lah, what you're trying to find out. Okay. And then if you want to use this, all right, my advice is you cannot kata apa in terms of selecting experts tu lah. I think kalau you tanya anyone yang buat FDM, they might have problems with getting the experts tu. To draw the criteria, I think that's simple. Okay, but to get them response to yang kadang-kadang tu depends on your luck jugalah. In my case, majority of my apa nama tu questionnaire tu has been sent by direct email. Okay, ada juga yang I don't know the expert in personal pun. Personally I don't know the expert, but I find out that this person is contoh is pengarah, is the director of assessment and evaluation in TVET, in Jabatan Kemahiran Malaysia. So I find this person is fulfilling my criteria, right? I just like randomly email this person, and alhamdulillah, my luck is that she responded, and then she always give a full support to my to my research lah. So itu tak jumpa langsung, even until now I tak jumpa lagi the expert tu, tapi they actually interested in it. Itu depends juga. So it depends on how you establish your contact, and you need to be perseverance. You tak boleh kata apa tak boleh bazir masa lah. You cannot really underestimate timing lah. Kalau you really want to do this, sebab ada possible, because dah dapat input, walaupun let's say you get only like 29, a very small sample size, right? But you see, my items are 308 items originally. I want to get consensus from the experts to agree on the 308 items. Siapa nak jawab, right? Okay, so 300 items, kalau 29 responses, right? You just imagine how much should I input in my Excel. It's very extensive. Kan? Macam you buat dekat quantitative lah, kan? So because we only have Excel as a tool now untuk now currently we only have Excel as a tool. Itu pun orang lain yang develop kan. We just like use it. Kalau tak, we have to use the formula, kira satu-satu. Okay, so the Excel really helps. Okay, so you can imagine lah mengantuk isi tuan. So itu adalah things that you cannot take for granted lah if you really chasing times. Okay, so that's my answer for that question lah. And then okay, itu saja kot rasanya, tak ada soalan lain.
I think that's it. All right. Okay. So, right, everyone, before we wrap things up, I'd like to gently remind everyone to please fill in the online attendance form. The link has been posted in the chat box. Your response definitely helps us keep track of your participation and ensures you will get that precious e-cert of attendance. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as we close today's webinar, let us take a quiet moment to reflect. From fuzzy logic to focus insight, from expert consensus to clearer research path. So today's session has truly been a compass for us all. To Dr. Muhammad Taufik Zamri, we extend our heartfelt thanks for sharing your PhD journey, and your findings, a little bit of findings of your research. So, and of course, and to each of you here, either students, educators, researchers, and lifelong learners, thank you for bringing your energy, your attention, and your love for learning to this virtual space, right? As we say goodbye for now, okay, so because we still have another webinar series next month, do come and may today's knowledge ignite a new question in your hearts. May your research grow bold and may your coffee always stay warm as your PhD thesis. Yeah. On behalf of the organizing committee, thank you for joining us in the webinar series number 46, Fuzzy Delphi Method, a modern approach to expert consensus. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep chasing brilliance. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and goodbye. Have
Thank you.
a great weekend, everyone. Doctor?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Zubaida, and I really extend my grateful to postgraduate FHP for inviting me to give this to share my research experience. Thank you very much again, and good luck to all. Right.
Thank you, Doctor.